Hey guys, today we're going to talk about MLA formatting. MLA stands for the Modern Language Association, and it's simply a tool to standardize students' papers so that when you write something and cite some sources, that your instructor or anybody who would happen to read your paper would be able to go back and look for those sources and make sure they're correct. We're going to start out in the beginner stages of this. We won't cover bibliographies today, but I just wanted to let you know that this resource is on D2L, and you can go ahead and all the information in this video is in this tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at an example MLA formatted paragraph or essay. So one thing you'll notice is up here we have a header, and this is where your last name and your page number goes. And you'll notice that it's right up here in the header and not in the body of the paper. Then you will have your full name, your instructor's name, the class, and the date. Then you will want to come and center and put the title. You come down one line and tab over once and begin typing. The only other time you tab then again is when you get to another line. You also don't hit enter in between each one of these lines, but we'll hit that in a minute. The other thing you want to pay attention to is that we're in Times New Roman size 12. Unless your instructor says otherwise, always write any papers in Times New Roman size 12 and double space everything. Okay, so we're going to go to a fresh Word document. Let me zoom in a little bit. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so to begin with, so why don't you open a new document in Microsoft Word, and then you want to double click anywhere in the top inch of the paper and the header will open. So here's my top inch. I'm going to double click right here, and you'll see I get a little tab that says header. If I were to scroll down, you can also access the footer in this way. Okay, so up in the header, what you want to do is hit tab twice. So hit your tab key, 1, 2, okay. And then your cursor is going to be at the right side of the paper, an inch from the edge of the paper. Be careful. Do you see right here is my cursor? If I hit tab one more time, you're right under the 7, under this ruler. And if it helps you to have a ruler, go to View and click on Ruler. If you don't already have a ruler like I do, you can go to View and click on Ruler. And this is a helpful tool because you want your cursor to be at that 6.5 mark and not at the 7 mark. So I'm just going to hit backspace to go to that 6.5 mark. Okay. Before we get started, we want to double check and make sure that we're in Times New Roman size 12. So I'm going to go to my font over here. And I've used Times New Roman recently, so I can click it there, or else I can scroll down. Another handy tool is I can just start typing Times New Roman, and it'll pop up. Okay, then I also want to say size 12. Okay, oops, it changed back, so I'm just double checking. Times New Roman, size 12. Okay, I'm going to type my last name and enter a space. In this case, let's pretend my name is Joe Smith, so Joanne Smith. And then I'm going to pop a space in. Okay, now this is a very crucial step because if I were to just type the number 1, and let's close out the header, let's go to following pages. Do you see how the number is 1 in every page? It doesn't matter if I'm on page 2, if I'm on page 1, if I'm on page 3, or 4. It all says 1. That's because we type the number. Whatever you type into the header will appear in the header. So we'll go back to the header. Remember to open it up. You can double click on it. And I'm going to delete that out. I'm just going to hit a backspace right there. So instead, I want to make sure my design tab up here is open. And I want to go to page number. Now it would make sense that if you want the number at the top of the page and you want it all the way over here. So I'm going to just show you what happens. I click and you'll see that it disappears. So that's not what we want, even though it seems to make sense. What you actually want is page number, current position, plain number. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. So you click on page number, current position, plain number, and that's it. That's all you need to do to get that beautiful little header up there. To get out of your header, just go anywhere not in your footer or your header and double click. Okay, you'll see that your header is a little grayed out. That's just, it will print out nice and dark and black. It's just letting you know your header's not open. So if I scroll on down, I'll see that now my page numbers change automatically. Again, if I just went in here and typed a 1, that's not going to work. Every page is 1 then. I have to go to page number, so on the design tab, page number, current position, plain number. I know it sounds a little silly, but that's what we need to do. Okay, after we're out of the header, we need to double check and make sure we still need to be in Times New Roman. Okay, and so I'll come up here to my font, go to Times New Roman, and remember I need to be in size 12. Okay, another thing that we want to look for that will help you out is this font right here. Right now it's currently set at Calibri size 11. That's your default. So when you open up Word, most of you will have Calibri size 11. If you always want to use Times New Roman size 12 because that's what you're doing in class, you can right click up here, click Modify, change this to Times New Roman size 12, and make sure you click on this button. If you don't, it won't happen every time you open a Word. But if I click this, hit OK, now it's always going to be Times New Roman size 12 for every assignment that whenever I open up Microsoft Word. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to set the line spacing, because you'll notice if I look at my example document that everything is double spaced. Okay, so this is where you do your line spacing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this open. I'm going to go to 2. And one little thing that you have to check is remove space after paragraph. If you don't do this, Word likes to put extra spacing into your paragraphs. I don't know why. So between paragraph to paragraph, you have a big wide gaping space when really if you go and look back at the example, you should just have the same amount of space between any line. Do you see right here is the same space as between these two lines? Okay, if you don't check that box right there, or if you don't click on that, you will get extra spacing. One extra precaution that you can take is go to line spacing options. Okay, this gives us a little bit more control. If you want to double extra, make sure that you don't have extra spaces, click on this box right here. Okay, make sure this is double and say OK. Now you are ready to go. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is type your name. So let's pretend, again, I am Joanne Smith. Then you want to type your instructor's name. If you're in my class, it would be Mrs. Zepp and Melissa Dickman, so you'd want to put that in. And then you want to put our class, and I am having hard time remembering this, but I think it's English 060, I think it's a 01 or 01U. Again, I would double check that, but I'm fairly certain that is our class. And then we'll put our date in. Just to give you a little tip, if you hit Alt, Shift, and then D all at the same time, pops your date in there and you don't even have to know what day it is. Okay, so again, I just go ahead and hit Alt, Shift, D, and you get your date. Again, you can just go ahead and type your date in if you'd like, but that's my little shortcut. Okay, now we need to go ahead, let's look down and see what we need. Okay, we need to center the title. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and center the title. And the way you can do that is come right up here and I'll hit center. You can also hit Control and E at the same time. So I'm going to go back and so I'm hitting Control and E, and you see that turns that button on and centers it at the same time. Now you can put we'll just have a boring title. This is the title of my essay. Let's say we're going to say that. Okay, do not bold this, don't italicize it, don't underline it, don't make it bigger. Okay, all of this are do nots. Do not, do not, do not. Unfortunately, MLA, they are very strict on how you format your titles, and they don't want any of that fancy stuff. So just nice and plain, Times New Roman, size 12. Okay, I hit enter, and the problem that I have now is that my cursor is in the middle. I need to return it back. So you can go ahead and click this button right here. Okay, so I can hit this button from this button, or I can hit Control L, and L stands for left, and you want your cursor to be on the left-hand side of the page. Okay, so the last thing that I need to do is I need to hit Tab. Okay, get out of the habit of just hitting, space, 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 space. It's not very efficient with our time. We want to hit one tab. You're 1/2 inch over, and let's see, I'm horrible at typing, but and now I begin typing the most wonderful paper in the world, or in the Wordle, as I spelled, in the world. Okay, boop, boop, boop. Okay, I'm horrible at typing, but I want to show you Control C, Control V. When you get to the end of the line, some of you who might have had typing class a long time ago, you had to hit Enter to get down to the next line. Just keep typing, and it's going to go to the next line. Okay, so you'll see. Let's see. So if I'm typing here, boop, boop, doop, it just goes to the next line automatically. You see, just seeks over. So don't put that enter in. It'll give you a world of craziness when you're trying to format something. Now, so far in English 060, we're mainly writing paragraphs, but when we move to English 090, we will move to essays. If you need to have a multi-paragraph piece of writing, what you need to do is just hit enter once. Don't hit it twice, just once. And you want to hit tab over and begin typing. Okay, that's how you get to your new paragraphs. Many of us, in terms of emailing or other online correspondence that we might do, might get into the habit of beginning our paper at the left-hand margin, and that's perfectly fine for your own correspondence. In fact, I do it all the time, but that's not MLA. And so if we're in this habit, we're used to hitting enter twice and having a space in between our work if we left justify our margins. So just get out of that habit because that's not MLA. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you. And remember, your paper should look just like this. 12-point Times New Roman text, double spaced. Your information over here should be all the way to the left hand of the paper. You should put your last name and the page number to the right hand side of the margin. In the header, and don't just come over here and hit enter and kind of try to get your cursor over and put your stuff in. It's not going to work. Okay, we'll know that it's not in the right place. So get it in the right place and then tab over and make sure there's not extra spaces in between. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, you can refer back to this tutorial right here. It's on D2L in the narrative paragraph section. Thank you and have a good day.